Oh, Riot had this thing, didn't they? Riot are going to launch a new virtual pass for Worlds 2023 here, giving players an exclusive skin, content, physical merch and more. I should do this more, really, a tweet, you know, where I didn't write a story on this because there was already loads of people writing stories on it, and Riot have written a long article, so I just tweeted it. I should do more little tweets like this, but again, it's time thing, isn't it? I have so many back-to-back calls. But I thought this article was really interesting from Riot, building the future of sport at Riot Games. Yeah, the Arnie thing, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's nice. Can I see? Let me have a look. What did he say here? Is it a quote tweet? Hang on. There he is. I appreciate the kind words, Dom. He didn't say Dom, but you know, I appreciate the kind words. That's how I read his voice anyway. I don't know if that's Arnie retweeting that. It's probably his team, but I don't care. It's his account retweeting it, and I'll take it. But anyway, yeah, building the future of sport at Riot Games by John Needham, head of esports, or president of esports at Riot Games. I thought this was just pretty interesting, talking about the future of esports. It's a critical time to cover this topic with talk of a looming recession and uncertainty about the business of esports, blah, blah, blah. We believe in the future of esports. There were some interesting little bits and pieces in here that I want to talk through, and it'd be interesting to get your view, guys, as well. What you think about Riot strategy and thoughts and all of that. This is all sort of like waffly stuff. 60% of our viewers watch esports to get better at playing the game. That's interesting, isn't it? I thought it would have been a lower percentage of that. I watched for fun. So some of this stuff, it's not sort of super headliney. I think some of the juicy stuff is later on. It's quite long, isn't it, this? And this, I'm pretty sure this... who was I talking to? I was talking to someone. Did I do a stream about this? I swear I've talked through this with someone already. But anyway, I think this is... I'm pretty sure this wasn't public knowledge before. Teams paid circa $10 million to participate in the LEC and LCS, I guess, and among other benefits, received 50% of the revenues, not profits, generated by that league. I'm pretty sure the $10 million was like a sources thing back then. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but I feel like Riot didn't publicly say that before, so I found that quite interesting. So they're talking about franchising. In order to pay the $10 million entry fee, pro teams had to raise significant capital from investors. Blah, 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 blah. This resulted in player salaries growing at a much faster rate than revenues, and as a result, pro teams' cash reserves were quickly depleted. We feel an obligation to our pro teams, and we're working hard to support them financially through this challenging time. Over the past few years, we've implemented minimum guarantees on the 50% revenue share to give teams more revenue predictability, accelerated payments owed to teams, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and for the Valorant Champions Tour, we wanted to decrease the capital required for teams to enter and create a partnership model. So in VCT, pro teams don't pay Riot direct. This is why it was billed as franchise-like, wasn't it, when they launched this new VCT thing last year. Pro teams don't pay Riot directly for joining the league, but instead maintain their slot by investing in marketing activities, producing content for broadcast, activating fans around events, and supporting pro players. In this model, Riot pays the pro teams a fixed annual stipend, kind of like the NLC, right, and regional leagues, but on a much bigger scale, I guess. A percentage of digital sales for esports content, prize pools for participating in our competitions, and incentives for incremental marketing activities above the basic requirements. Blah, blah, blah. The esports business is going to be more like the games business than traditional sports. I feel like Riot's had a bit of a shift there, because they have always referred to League of Legends and esports as kind of like a sport. And I feel like they've had some lessons. Like one critical lesson we learned in the first decade of esports at Riot is we need to stop thinking about the esports business like traditional sports. Blah, 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 blah. Comparisons with traditional media. Oh, sorry, Mark, I missed that. I am going to MSI. Yes, I am going to MSI. Not all the days, but I have got a press. But I'll be there some of the days. There's a press thing, a pre-event press thing happening soon, which I'd hopefully be there and maybe go a handful of times. But it's expensive for me to get into London, and I've got kids, so I can't stay in London for a month. I can't. I have my parents live in Essex, so it's easy for me to stay at theirs and go into out of London. But I just can't do it for 3 weeks and say to my wife, "Here you go, here's the kids, go and look after." And I can't, physically impossible as well, because she works a few days a week where I need to do the school run for them and stuff. So I will be there, like on and off. I'll try and be there for the beginning, the finals, maybe the middle, maybe 3 or 4 times. But mindful of getting there as well, travel costs and all that stuff. Merck says, Will says, it's a weird one. I think we're watching some of the best league we've seen in recent years, but if the orgs aren't making money from it, or it isn't beneficial to them, then I get it. Yeah. Merck says, unpopular opinion, or maybe popular, esports should operate the same system as the Football League does. I want to see teams get promoted, relegated from leagues. Well, it used to do that, Merck. It used to do that when you were younger, I guess. God, that makes me feel old. When you were like 10, 11, 12. It used to do that. So the LC, before the LEC, right, you would go through, you could go from the ESL UK Premiership up to it was what it was known as, it was Challenger Series qualifiers. And then from there you could get into the Challenger Series. And the Challenger Series was the route into the EU LCS, which is now the LEC. I was sad. I wrote an opinion piece, actually. Let me see if I can find it here. I bet it's not going to find it, because if I put promotion relegation, it's going to come up with blooming. Let's have a look here. UKLC relegation series to allow top UKL teams to gain promotion. Okay, there's a UKL one there, Mark. No, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for. No, I can't. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. June 1st, 2017, so about 6 years ago, I put the NA LCS changes are bad for the future of competitive League of Legends opinion. I forgot I had that nice picture of fire on my site. Yeah, see, because this was introduced before the LEC was announced. The LEC was announced a few months after this, or towards the end of 2017, I think it was. Blah, blah, blah. I've put, my opinion back then was why uncertainty is better than stability. I can see why Riot are doing this. Creates greater stability and potentially greater profits across the board, but at what cost? At what cost? From a spectator perspective, I don't want to see the same 10 teams play split after split. I want to see the likes of Origin fall down to the Challenger Series to see how they can try to fight their way back into the LCS. I want to see newcomers like Misfits go from the UK scene into the Challenger Series and into the LCS and make a strong impact in their first split. I want uncertainty, I want relegations and promotions, twists and turns. Isn't that partly what makes sport great to watch? So, but I'm an old school, but that's interesting that you like that as well, Merck, because I know you're a football fan like me. But that is the football brain we have, right? We like the promotion relegation thing. Look at Wrexham. What an amazing story that is. We wouldn't have that, would we, if we just had franchising everywhere? And that's what I worry about football and sport in the UK. Of all these American owners now. Because they will try and make changes. Who is it? Is it Ted Bowley at Chelsea trying to come up with all these crazy ideas? We're already doing this blooming Premier League thing in the States, aren't we? We do have to be careful a little bit. I don't want this system changed. Although I think football fans wouldn't let it happen, right? Look at how they moaned about the European League that was going to be the European Super League. This is what I've put here. Riot seem to be valuing money over creativity. I have changed my opinion a little bit since it. I do understand we need money in esports. Back then, 2017, that was the throw money in esports period, right? Part of it. I've put here, where's the room for future entrepreneurs? startups who have an ambitious vision for their grassroots or growing org. There's no room for them to grow. Their best players will just get snapped up by the LCS orgs, and they won't be able to amass the money they needed to buy a spot. Blah blah blah. And I've put here, this will surely push startups, amateur orgs, and entrepreneurs into other esports games, and that's exactly what happened, right? You had teams like UK League teams that are now doing better in other games, right? Look at M&M Gaming, how well they're doing in Rainbow Six, Endpoint, Rocket League, Resolve, Rocket League. You know, that has happened because you can't get into the LEC unless a spot comes up, which is very rare, and B, you've got a ton of money. You know. Oh, you'll probably be down for the MSI finals, Omni. Yeah, well, give me a shout. I'd love to meet up again. Merck said, were you at Insomnia, by the way, Omni? Merck says, just think of the drama stories coming from leagues when a team gets relegated, then a massive comeback arc to get promoted back to league. Yeah, it's... maybe that's what Freaks for You have tried to do with the NLC in the UK. But the thing is, people don't really care, do they? They don't care about whatever Division 2, 3 and below, really. You know, people don't talk about it that much. I would cover it. If more people read my articles on it, I would cover it. But they don't. So I have to cover other things. You know, I'll cover it a little bit, but... Merck says, I love the stories of how Burnley got relegated, demolished the Championship to get promoted to the Premier League. Yeah, I do too. I would have the easiest way to work a promotion relegation system with the fact of NLC as a thing and equivalents all over the place. But that's what they did before. They went to this to try and make it more stable, you know, financially and stuff. Will says the LEC expansion stuff went quiet. Was that all dropped? Yeah, do you know what? I was pretty sure. Riot said, didn't they? They were going to expand to 12 teams and stuff. I don't know why that's gone quiet. Maybe they're biding their time. Maybe they're waiting for next year. Maybe they wanted to experiment with these free splits before they increased it. I don't know. I prefer the 2 splits really, but I know some people like these free splits. Merck says stability is boring, bringing instability and allow storylines. But yeah, but people need to get paid as well. You know, it's a difficult one. I can see both sides. How did you find Insomnia, Omni? Because I know some people were a little bit upset, weren't super on board with it. We always aim to deliver great value to our sponsors. We delivered 5 to 7 times our sponsors' investment back in value as estimated by Nielsen. I think it was Jacob Wolf, journalist Jacob Wolf, who called that out. He tweeted saying, I don't believe those numbers. Yeah, it does seem quite high. We've delivered 5 to 7 times our sponsors' investment back into value estimated by Nielsen. The challenge with sponsorship business is that there are only so many sponsor categories you can sell, and revenues don't necessarily scale directly with the size of the audience. One hole in the esports business model compared to traditional sports is broadcast licensing revenues. Yeah, FIFA, NBA, F1 make billions of dollars from broadcast licensing deals. But they've said, you know, linear television is not a good channel for esports because there's an audience mismatch. You know, people are on Twitch and all that stuff. We want to be everywhere our players are with our content. A few years ago, streaming platforms in the West did sign big exclusive license deals for other non-Riot esports as part of bigger infrastructure deals with their parent companies. Ultimately, these deals didn't earn out, and as a result, Western streaming platform deals reverted to pure revenue sharing on low-value advertising. Despite generating billions of hours of viewership for a valuable audience, Riot receives de minimis streaming platform revenues in the West. So how should we generate revenues for teams? We have a direct connection to our viewers. So I like this here. If our players use their Riot account to log in and view esports content on Riot's Watch platform, we give them rewards, you know, like drops and stuff. For our biggest events, we offer event passes. Blah blah blah. For most major esports events, as much as 40% of our Western viewership is via Riot's Watch platform. That's interesting, isn't it? That's almost half of League esports viewers are doing it from the Riot platform now to get the drops. I wonder what Twitch thinks of that. You know, I think they'll always be on Twitch, or at least for a long time. But I do think it's interesting, Riot are trying to get people watching on their platform. And I think the Riot player is pretty good. I watch Worlds on the Riot player and I get drops. I'll be watching, when I'm not in London for MSI, I will be watching MSI on Riot's platform as well. I quite like it. You know, and you get the little extras in League of Legends, don't you, as well. Imagine a pro player in a competition chooses a champion you play in League. Boom, we'll send you a prompt through the watch platform to buy a skin you don't own for that champion. I like stuff like that, or a rare skin or something, you know, reward people for viewing. Another hypothetical example is when we see that one of our players watches every T1 match but hasn't purchased the T1 fan pack, which includes a bunch of things. We promote that fan pack with details on how the revenue will be shared with the team. That's good as well. Yeah, I like that stuff. You know, if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'd like to get extras and things for watching Arsenal on TV. You know, that's not going to happen, but it's a different business, isn't it? Digital esports content is some of Riot's best-selling game content. 3 out of the top 6 selling LoL skins of all time are esports themed. I thought that was interesting. I could have pulled this out in tweets and done bullet points. That was interesting. In 2022, Valorant sold $42 million of the VCT Champion skin pack and distributed half of that revenue to the teams who competed in the tournament. Blah, blah, blah. Differences between Valorant, and League. We're building out-of-game experiences where fans can socialise, interact, express themselves. If we give players ways to enjoy digital goods and services outside of the game through the watch experience itself or in virtual clubhouses, this opens up a wide variety of opportunities for all esports teams and will enhance the live viewing experience. I like this stuff, and I think they're doing it with... So this was kind of buried today in this article I did, but their merch stuff for MSI... Where is it here? 2023 marks the first year that Riot has produced a complete apparel capsule for MSI. The drop features a variety of tops and accessories. Oh, no, sorry, I read it as drop. I don't think they mean an actual stream drop. Yeah, no, I've read that wrong. But, you know, we might get that stuff. And it's kind of, what am I thinking of? It's kind of NFT-y, isn't it? If you watch something and you unlock something where you can buy a shirt just through watching, like that starts to get interesting. I think esports fans will be interested in that kind of stuff. Having the ability to sell esports digital goods and services directly to viewers will provide a scalable revenue source that should fill the hole left by the lack of broadcast licenses. I think this is really important because, and I think they're onto something here, because when I watch League of Legends, I want to play the game. So when people are watching League, I think that is a good time to I want to say sell, but present items and stuff to the viewers. Maybe that is selling stuff. Not everyone will pay, but I do think that's a way to make money from esports, and a good way, especially if you do content that you can only get by watching it live. I think gamers will like that. I think we're onto something there. So we don't need pay-per-view, but that could be a form of pay-per-view in a way. So I'm interested by that and to see where that goes. Omni says, Insomnia, how long you got? I'm here for a little while yet, mate. I'm interested to hear your views. Or we'll have a chat at some point. Give me a shout. Yeah, I spoke about that on the last stream, about people criticising it or whatever. Not even criticising it, but the whole thing around it, and you know, the lack of prize pools and lack of incentives for esports people to be there. But I get it. I get Insomnia, you know, has the whole family thing, the expo and all of that. It's not just the LAN area, is it? And then yeah, lastly on this, virtual live event experiences. So again, it's not NFTs, but it's that. What's that? What is it? NFTs and something else. I can't think what the word is now. We're building a virtual ticket program that will enhance the fan experience. Oh yeah, I mentioned that, the virtual pass. Our additional goal, support esports team revenues. The virtual pass will feature a bundle of digital products and physical and digital goods from our sponsors. I like that, physical goods. I like that stuff. Doing stuff in the digital world to get physical goods, I think it's interesting. Ideas and examples, blah, blah, blah. We want to expand... in 2024 and beyond, we want to expand the offering in LoL, Esports, and introduce the virtual pass to VCT Valorant, adding more experiential features to bring fans closer to the action, such as access to premium in-game cameras, like being able to lock on and watch any champion or agent, access to special cameras around the live event venue, exclusive chat channels and lounges, digital collectibles, status items like special icons or borders, and maybe the ability to have very select fan messages show up on the event broadcast. These are ideas and examples. I like the sound of that stuff. We're intentionally building this virtual pass in a way that we can have team-specific versions with team-branded virtual and physical goods, and maybe even pro team room access, exclusive chat channels with pro teams, and the ability to interact with the players. I mean, players are already super busy. As you know, I guess that would be limited time chat channels, kind of like Reddit AMAs, I guess. If we design this product right, it will deliver great experiences and connect fans with their favourite players and teams while simultaneously creating a new revenue stream for teams. I quite like that Riot have opened up about this stuff. You know, this sounds like, you know, they'll have internal documents of whatever, our plans for 2024. This, you know, I'm looking at this, it's kind of like an internal document. And I know Riot said they wanted to open up, you know, more about their vision and stuff. I quite like this, so shout out to John and or whoever, if someone ghostwrote this or whatever else, for talking about this stuff, because they know, don't they, that esports fans like transparent companies. We truly believe we're building the future of sport at Riot. Blah blah blah. We've learnt a lot. We've got a young audience. We're all in on esports. We're developing and investing in things like our watch platform, virtual ticketing systems that should be awesome for our players, fans and teams. You'll see this future come to life. The other thing I wanted to talk about, they spoke about Gen Z at one point. This made me feel really old. They were like, esports reach the most valuable demographic on the planet. Millennials, I'm an old millennial, Gen Z, and now alphas. It's like, oh my God, I haven't read that term that much, alphas. But yeah, I guess that's my kids. I don't know. Or would my kids be just slightly below alphas? No, I think that's my kids when I looked into alphas. And that generation of whatever, young people who are like 10 to 12 or whatever else. Esports at Riot reaches this audience at tremendous scale and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Merck says, what about like what TF2 did with Insomnia? You attend the event and you got an in-game cosmetic item. Yeah, see, that's pretty cool as well. I like all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. One-off stuff. Look, there's no it's not going to be hard, is it? That hard to add a what's it called in League, where you have a variant of a skin, a slightly different colour. I can't think what it's called now. Chromas, right? The amount of chromas that are in League of Legends, hundreds, thousands probably, and the amount that Riot introduce every month, right? It's got to be tens per month or every other month. They could do it for a big event, couldn't they? They could do really cool MSI chromas. If you think about, I don't know, they could, for example, pick whatever the top 10 most picked champs were, or top 5 most picked champs this season, or spring, or whatever it is, spring season, around the regions taking part in MSI, and they could introduce MSI chromas that are red and black chromas for some of your favourite, the top 5 most picked champs or whatever. Right, and you can only get it if you watch MSI or whatever it is. Right, you can't get it after MSI. That's, you know, gamers I think would like stuff like that. Skillers Killers, how are you? Only thing I feel like I didn't feel like the article really said that much. Granted, I didn't read the whole article. It is, I know what you mean. It is a little bit PR, and you will get that, right? John would have written this, or whoever wrote it, and then it goes through a PR process. I quite liked it. I quite liked some of the things they were talking about. It does open up. They did open up with a few stats and their future vision and this idea of digital products through esports and stuff. But I know what you mean. Yeah, Chroma's Merc, because they do it as a ward skin. Yeah, ward as well. Yeah, you only need to do one, don't you? You've got such a big team at Riot. You could. I don't know how long. How long is it going to do to make a ward skin? Not going to take long, is it? Surely. Merc says, do the same thing TF2 did too. Get the community involved in it. Yeah, you could get community design stuff, couldn't you? Let's do a competition, and the best design from the community, you get that skin added. Right? We have, don't we, 5 skins, don't we, from Worlds. The winning team get to pick their skins, their world skins for their 5 champs. You could have a community created 1 skin, couldn't you? You could have the most picked champ at the tournament or whatever, and the community decides something, and then you do a vote. I mean, Riot do some voted things anyway, don't they? So that's my views on that. Do you know what? I might clip this. I might cut this, because I've been talking about this article for about 20 minutes. So I might cut this and upload it on YouTube. I don't do that much. I should do it a bit more. So I might do that. So thanks for watching if you watch this on YouTube. And let me know what you thought of it as well in the comments or on the stream. And if you are on YouTube, please like, subscribe and all that jazz and turn on notifications. I don't do much on YouTube, but I like to do shorts and clips. I'm going to be doing shorts and yeah, interview clips and gameplay clips and stuff from MSI. So watch this space.